Microsoft 365 community. All right. We're at day 3. Holy bananas. It went fast, right? You kind of blink and you're here. My name is Heather Cook. If I haven't met you before, was Heather Newman. So you'll see me in both places. I am thrilled to be up here to say Caruana Gatimu, Principal Manager of the Microsoft Customer Advocacy Group. Please close this keynote off for community with us.
Thank you. That was awesome. Hello, everyone. Well, her job is to not make me cry before I walk up here. That was wonderful. I am very happy to be with you today. We've all had such an opportunity to learn so much, both from all the fantastic speakers and sponsors at this show, but also from each other. And that's what really makes these sorts of conferences so important, is the impromptu conversations, meeting people in the hallway, having conversations with each other. So we're going to continue to do that right now, and I'm going to take you through some of the information that I think that you're going to need to go forward. This form is very important. So this is the part in my presentation where you all take out your phones and you take pictures of all the resource slides. I like to do those up front and get them all out of the way. So we really want your feedback. There are session evaluations in the Whova app for all of your wonderful speakers. This is your opportunity to give Microsoft feedback directly about the show and whether or not you enjoyed it and how we can continue to improve. We want you to stay connected. It's not just about what happens here. It's about what happens when you go back to where you're visiting us from. So make sure you stay connected in the Microsoft community. Find a local event at communitydays.org and follow us right on LinkedIn. We have a Microsoft community page on LinkedIn so you can see those news and announcements when you're on LinkedIn right in your feed. It's an important part of making sure that you're able to action everything that you learned here at this show. You need to stay informed, right? You need to stay informed. And of course, we have our Microsoft 365 roadmap site. But every other week, Heather Cook and I broadcast live on LinkedIn and YouTube a news and announcement show called Mondays at Microsoft. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. We started this because we couldn't keep up, right? There's so much happening in our space right now, especially in modern work and Power Platform and in AI. And that's what our show focuses on. But we're not the only ones. Right? There's a fantastic amount of content that's also available on adoption.microsoft.com. Never start from scratch. There's so many wonderful people inside Microsoft who make so many fantastic white papers and templates and PowerPoint slides that you should never have to create your own for a good deal of what you do, whether it's technical readiness or user enablement or sharing really what's happening at Microsoft with your leadership. Visit this site and take a few minutes and get to know it, because there's content from a variety of products on there that we really feel like is valuable to all of you. You also want to learn from others. You want to keep learning from each other. Of course, you can do that in the community. How many of you in this room are responsible for some form of user enablement, a champions program, driving adoption? Where are my people? Yes, I want to hear from you. Yes, excellent, fantastic. The Microsoft 365 Champions program has actually been around for a very long time, and there's more than 45,000 members, a good chunk of whom are very active every month. We do these calls, and it's just one example of a community call, though, because there's so many others, right? I don't know if Vesa is still in the room here, but there's a ton of folks, Vesa and David and a bunch of other people who run a tremendous amount of community calls for the Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform, Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework. We did these live from the show here. It was really exciting, and you can use their templates and information as well. So whatever you happen to be interested in, there is likely a community call for you. So this is free training and free information from people who are doing work just like yourselves, and it's not all from Microsoft people, which I find really important. You can learn from other customers in these calls, and that is tremendous for your own skilling journey. But what we really want you to do is come back here. This is my opportunity to announce that this will be back in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand, May 6th through 8th in 2025. Go get your ticket right now because we will have so much fun together in Las Vegas. And because you're here, you'll get this $150 discount, which is fantastic if you register early. That's early bird registration, right? Very successful. I really feel like the energy here at this show has been so fantastic. We went through a lot with the pandemic, with virtual events. We still love our virtual events, but I just really love having all of us together. So who wants to come to Vegas with me in 2025? Come on now. Let's go do that. Absolutely. What makes this community special is the people who are in it. And I want to take a moment to thank all of the organizers, all of the sponsors, and all of the Microsoft people who took time out to come to this show. It just makes such a difference to be here with all of them. I'm so grateful to see my Microsoft colleagues. We don't always get to see each other as well. And, that gentleman there in the center, I just want to take a moment to say something about Jeff Teeper, who has 100% changed my life. But he has been a proponent of community as an essential part of being a product maker for as long as I have been associated with SharePoint, which is for a very, very long time. And sometimes it takes one person who believes and who leans in and who leads to impact the lives of so many others. And that's really what I want to talk about here, is the opportunity each of us has at this moment, at the dawn and in the era of AI, to be that person for someone. Right? Jeff has been this person for many, many people at Microsoft, inside and outside, and all of you through the product work he's done, the strategy, the evangelism, and the heart that he brings to being a product maker. But all of us have this opportunity as well, right? To really lean in at this moment and understand how are we going to navigate what we're dealing with, which for many people is uncertainty. I love Copilot. I love Microsoft 365. I love all the things we can do with it. But the truth is, when I talk to customers, I hear a lot of uncertainty, right? There's concern and some confusion about what AI is going to mean for us as a business, as an industry, and as a society, right? But the only way through this is forward and forward together. We have to really think about what is the narrative we're saying about AI. How many people have thought, you may not have said it to me, although some of you have, but you've thought the word Skynet while you were at this conference? Okay, yes, everybody's hand goes, I've heard that word more in the last, 12 months than I have in the last 12 years. But that's because of the underlying anxiety, and you all laugh because we're all a little worried about that, right? It's okay to be concerned. What we have to do is take action to make sure that everything we do is in a positive direction. So what is that X factor? Really, what is that is going to make sure that the work that we're doing together is going to move this forward? People are funny creatures. They're pesky. Because I focus on the people side a lot, I love products and I love technology. But when you are accountable for rolling it out amongst a large group of people or ensuring that it's there, if you're in IT, as I once was, you're the one that they're going to call if their expectations are unmet, if that service has a problem, right? That's a heavy responsibility, right? And is it just about the technology or is it about something more? What is going to be that X factor, right? The most important thing, the most powerful thing about this era of AI is all of you. It is not the new services that Microsoft brings to the table. It's not even the way that you implement them in your organization. It's the way you yourself embrace this journey of learning and implementation and empowerment and reimagining. What does it mean to be an IT leader in this era? What does it mean to focus on user enablement? Right? What does the community do and how does it evolve? How does skilling evolve in the era of AI? So I encourage you all to take this moment, and this isn't just for you as attendees, this is for every Microsoft employee, this is for everyone who's here. Take this moment to think about how are you going to use these new capabilities and really lean in and be of service to others and make sure that this goes in a good direction for your organization, for yourself, as well as for society as a whole. We can't abdicate this responsibility to other people. We are the ones, you are here right now for a reason, and we are the ones who need to make sure that this is really going to work. But Microsoft is here to help you. I had a fantastic opportunity to meet this amazing woman inside Microsoft. Her name is Susan Ettinger, and she led some research with 1,300 of some of our largest customers and customers who were in our early adoption program. And they really found a key elements that were indicators of AI readiness, right? And this isn't just AI about Microsoft, the Copilot experiences, but AI as a capability for your business, right? You could be using Azure OpenAI services. You could be using AI capabilities inside Fabric or Power Platform, of course, Modern Work and Microsoft 365. But these 5 drivers really differentiated organizations who were able to get the most out of AI more quickly and with the least amount of friction. Now, you can go to this page, it's shown here, ak.ms/LEAI, for the full study and the research methodology. You're probably going to want to take a look at that. But understand that this is not all about the technology itself. What is the business strategy, right? How are you going to implement it in your organization? Of course, you need to secure and modernize and attend to the governance of your data estate, the strategy and the experience that you're going to deliver. I'm asking everyone to use the template for the user experience strategy that we have included in our customer success kit. I probably wrote the first one of those about a decade ago, but not everybody always does one. Now's the time, right? Now's the time to really lean into many of the best practices we've been sharing for some time. But all the work we do won't mean anything if we don't address our organization and our culture. Do you have a learning culture in your organization, right? Is there a shame-free space that people can come and ask questions and know that there aren't any dumb questions? Because I am here to tell you there are not, right? There are not any dumb questions right now. There actually never have been. But certainly right now, as we lean into this era of AI, when we're all learning together, we need to be able to have that conversation with one another. And then, of course, one of my favorite words, governance, right? I always say good governance precedes great adoption. Some of the other data that we found there was about how the leadership's experience and the organization's experience of AI began to change the way they communicated about it and their perspective. So if you think about this, there is a leadership journey to understanding how to leverage AI as a capability in your company. And I think that as leaders become more familiar with it, they have their own aha moment with it, and they begin to understand it as an actual capability, they start to focus on the business growth element rather than the efficiencies and the cost savings. Now, of course, there are efficiencies and there are cost savings, but I think that we as a collective group of people who are technologists, who are at the leading edge of this, really need to encourage our leaders to talk about that business growth first, especially when landing the AI strategies in an organization, because I guarantee you that many people are like, okay, the company's going to implement AI. What does that mean for me? That's the very first thing they think. Is this a threat to me? Am I in danger? And what happens to your brain when you start to feel nervous and you start to feel like you're concerned or you have anxiety? It blocks your ability to learn. And learning, adaptability, being able to ingest this information and these new experiences is essential to our ability to thrive in the era of AI. So I encourage all of us to think about how can you use AI to actually expand your business, right? Think about that first, because you will definitely be thinking about it the more you start to realize the value of it, right? And this is directly from the paper and the research that we did at Microsoft. We believe that there is a foundational journey to becoming AI-powered, and you may have seen this if you went to any of the Copilot sessions, but it bears repeating. I am so happy about this slide. There's not just the technical skilling journey. There's not just the technical readiness journey to implementing Copilot. There is a leadership journey where leaders have to lean in and think differently about this new capability that's at their fingertips. And there's the human change. We called it adoption. Now we're calling it user enablement. We're calling it user enablement now, of course, because user enablement leads to user satisfaction. And that is the actual outcome we're trying to drive OneDrive. Of course, we want everyone to use Microsoft 365 and Copilot and all of the capabilities within that. What we really want is satisfied users and engaged employees. Now, at Microsoft, this framework is built on the foundation of our responsible AI principles. And if you haven't had a chance to go look at our responsible AI website, I absolutely encourage you to do that. A tremendous amount of thought has gone into those principles. And those principles are actually built into our engineering practices. Every feature has to go through what we call an RAI review before it is allowed to go into product. We take that trust and these principles very seriously as we think about stepping forward in this area. So these are all components of the customer success kit that you find. But the issue here is really, what is the opportunity, right? No matter what business that you are in, whether your business is large or a multinational or small, or maybe you're an independent practitioner, AI experiences are built to remove some of the drudgery from the work that we do, the repetitive tasks. They're meant to free us to be creative and, yes, more productive. But what is really going to free us to do? Many of us, we haven't even figured this out yet, right? And you may not have thought about the business scenarios that you have in your own organization that are going to be impacted by AI. But this is also true with the rest of Microsoft 365, right? I know that as an organization, we're talking about Copilot, and Copilot is tremendously important, and so is this era. But so are the fundamentals of working in SharePoint and OneDrive and Microsoft Teams. So are the rules that you might put in your inbox to manage the email that you get, right? This is an opportunity to really help our users build those smart habits that make them more productive in general across Microsoft 365 as a foundation for then adding Copilot. These things go together, right? This is why we suggest when you're rolling out Copilot that you take a look at the usage reports for Microsoft 365 and see who's really using Teams, who's really using Outlook. Start with that cohort of users because they have the propensity to have a great experience going forward. As we think about this, it's really important to understand the user journey. So you've heard it before, I'm going to say it again. Rolling out Copilot or any AI experience isn't like all the things we've done in the past, right? It's not the same as teaching someone how to configure the options in a Teams meeting or sync of SharePoint site into OneDrive for easy saving, right? People have to have an individual aha moment. They have to understand it for themselves because we have a new interface now. That natural language interface changes everything. I am talking to my computer and asking it to do things in ways that I never did before, right? And frankly, even for myself, they said, "Oh, Caruana, will you and your team come help us with this thing? We're calling it Copilot." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's cool. No problem." I had no idea. Zero. No idea what we were getting ourselves into. My team over there, who's awesome, will definitely attest to that. But, we all individually had to have our own aha moment to go, well, okay, we understand Copilot from kind of a product specification perspective, but what does this mean for us, right? And some amazing work going on in Miranda's team right there. Miranda's one of my peers in Adam's team, and they do a tremendous amount of customer work. And a gentleman on her team has been putting out these great little articles about how using AI can help them work with customers more directly or see insights more directly. We're all learning this together. But the first question that may be unarticulated by your users is, why do I care about this? Why do I care? Because I'm busy. Have you not seen? I'm super busy, and my job isn't technology. It's to, take care of a customer. It's to solve a problem or what have you, right? And so they're not really thinking about the technology. So you have to earn their attention. Right? And this is why using Microsoft Viva with your Copilot rollout is so important, because using Amplify and Viva Engage and the other components in Microsoft Viva will allow you to really tell that story. Right? Now you see why the narrative, how we talk about this, is so important. We have to make sure that people, your business users, understand why should they take valuable time out of their day to learn this new thing, because, by the way, you told me about some other new thing a year ago and my life isn't transformed, right? Because we use that word a lot, right? So we have to earn that trust, right? They have to understand how they're going to use it, and if you're lucky, If you're really lucky, then they'll start to think about, well, that actually really worked for me. I love not taking notes in meetings. I love that when somebody says my name in a meeting, it goes in the intelligent recap and I can find it as a task later. I really do love that, right? Because I am often double booked, right? That's a very common scenario. But then I'm like, wait, what if we as a team use that for our community calls? And we could index our community calls and the follow-ups and the questions that y'all ask in them. What if we did that? That's what you want your users to have, is that aha moment where they start to understand how it can help in those business practices, right? But if they have an issue, you want to make sure you have that community of practice, whether you use Viva Engage or Microsoft Teams or another tool, where people can come and have that interaction together, right? It's very important when you're rolling out Copilot that you think about the user cohorts, right? It used to be that we could, roll a few licenses out in IT and a few to our early adopters, and we train a couple of trainers, and that was good, and we get good feedback. Copilot isn't like that. You really need to use those reports and figure out the groups of people who are working deeply in Microsoft 365, especially Teams and Outlook, and onboard them together, at least 25 people. Because you need that buddy system for people to actually engage and understand that, right? Now, in a perfect world, what happens is you get all the way over here to what's next, right? What's next? What can I do next? And in our framework, we call that extend and expand, and that's where Copilot Studio and our extensibility story starts to come alive, right? When you can connect Copilot with your own data. But this framework here, we have revised it as an organization, as Microsoft, for Copilot and all the experiences we're talking about. But this applies to anything that you're doing. I encourage you to get that Copilot Success Kit, even if you aren't ready to roll out Copilot yet, because this will give you tools to modernize your approach to enabling the business users in your organization and helping your leaders have a new relationship with the technology. We can no longer ignore the emotional state of people in our environment. We need them to be relaxed. We need them to be happy because we need them to learn and learn at speed. So as we keep going through and thinking about this, right, the differentiation, the X factor in this era of AI is really going to be about our ingenuity, our determination, and our curiosity to ensure that these technology tools are actually going to deliver on their promise for the organization. So if you're an independent organization, I used to run my own company before I came to Microsoft. I was an IT department of one, and I was also sales, and I was also lead producer, right? Sometimes you're that person and you wear multiple hats. This needs to be simple, and that's why you need to lean on folks like the Fast Track team and others and all of the tools that we have to be able to help you do this. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing that we have with you and that you need to have with your user community is trust, right? If I come to you and I say, I really believe this, which is what I'm doing right now. I really believe this. I know this is going to work, and I know this is going to be good for us, right? That's your word, right? And we as Microsoft are giving you our word, and you in turn are giving it to the people who depend upon you as a trusted advisor, right? And so we want to make sure that that trust is honored and also is the currency of how we drive change. Right? One of the things that I love about the team that I get a chance to work on, both my direct team but the broader team that Adam has created, is the trust we have in each other. It allows us to operate more quickly. There's less friction between us because we trust each other as leaders, right? And so when you have that in your organization, it is precious, and you need to make sure that you're applying it in ways that continue to build a trustworthy experience. Right? So we believe that that trustworthy experience can be expanded and can be focused in these areas, right? So you hopefully will have soon this AI strategy. You're going to go to the website, you're going to get Susan's awesome work, you're going to read the 5 pillars and how to land an AI strategy for your organization. Then you're going to think about getting some Copilot licenses or some other capabilities and like the business scenarios that you want to change, right? At Microsoft, we're product makers. And so we talk a lot about features, right? We talk about feature here and a feature there and a feature everywhere. And then we change the name. And then And then we come back and we talk about the feature again. And then maybe we change the name one more time just to be sure that you got it. But we do that. And we talk about features because, we're technical people. We love technology. That's what we do. But what's important for all of you to be thinking about, besides all of those amazing features, is how do you take those features and leverage them for your business in scenarios like improving customer engagement, accelerating product development and innovation in your own company, extending service and support. What if your service and support organization could help 25% more customers, right? What if it could do that? That's meaningful to your business. That's the kind of business growth and productivity that you want to drive with AI that actually means something. And this is what the research showed, that the organizations who had leaned in on these specific scenarios began to get business value, and then they began to get inspired about what this could do for them, right? You also want to think about the people. What about the roles in your organization, right? What people in your organization are having the most pain with their collaboration experience, or having the most difficulty in solving issues for customers, right? Your own customers. Or even in your own IT organization. How many of you here sit in IT or a Microsoft Digital type group? Okay, quite a few of you. Yes, I see the hands. It's okay. It's all right to be from IT here. You don't have to just put your hand up like, yeah, you're from IT. You're important. This is awesome. So if in IT, obviously we know that, we don't have unlimited resources there. Even in an organization like Microsoft, right? There's not unlimited IT resources. So how can we help you drive more productivity even in that area, right? To be able to apply AI or any technology appropriately to roles in your organization means that you have to actually talk to people. Please, go talk to people. I love the tools of Glint. I love Microsoft Forms for gathering NPS, like we are from all of you here at this show. But what I really love is actually sitting down in a round table of employees and saying, hey, what's really difficult for you in your day-to-day job? You'll be amazed by what people will tell you face-to-face or in a virtual Teams meeting that they might not put on a form, right? They might not write it down, but they will tell you, man, I don't know, maybe, because what they usually say is, maybe it's me, maybe I just don't understand. But this form doesn't work, right? People have a tendency to assume if something's wrong with the technology, it's them. And it has created this kind of shame-based, culture when it comes to asking questions about technology. It's not them, it's probably us. And maybe really us. You never know. It might be Microsoft. But at the very least, you want to be able to have those conversations. So reviewing and updating your existing policies, right? What is the authoritative content in your organization, right? You want to make sure that when Copilot is grounding itself in information, it's doing it accurately, right? And also making sure that you are enforcing the retention and deletion practices. This is so the right information is available. That also helps people in their various roles. And lastly, this issue of building a learning culture. We have another bite at this apple. We have another opportunity now to really build a learning culture. And the work that the Microsoft Viva team is doing with Viva Learning is spectacular, right? And they're really bringing snackable and in the flow of work learning to every individual. Right? And it's also about the ability to curate that content in your own organization. You're not going to want every playlist that Microsoft creates. We know that. So we want to give you that ability. So the connective tissue between Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, where you can build those custom playlists, and Viva Learning is continuing to improve. But having that snackable learning, because, people will come to a course on something, and all of you will go on to Microsoft Learn and learn something, but many people don't have as much time for that. So you want to make sure that they can go and get a quick answer when they're in the middle of something and they've gotten stuck, right? You want to make sure that people get unstuck. But you also want to make sure you have that community of practice, like a Viva Engage community. But I will say it 1,000 times. It isn't the tech that makes a community. It's the people, right? It's the community manager that makes sure that that community is vibrant and stays engaging and has fresh content, right? So make sure that if you're going to launch a community of practice for Copilot or, again, any other technology, that you have somebody, preferably a group of people, who are going to make sure that that content and that community stays engaging. All right. And lastly, making sure to highlight both the success stories and the challenges, right? Making sure that people know it's not them, right? We're still figuring this out together. And I say it in a lot of meetings, this is a judgment-free zone. You don't have to apologize for having your camera on or off, or for the question you're about to answer or ask, or anything else, right? Just come and be as you are, and let's figure this out together. That type of leadership is what all of you can provide when you go back to your organizations, even if it's just to your team, right? Because this is about leading from every level, and you will see us writing a lot about that in coming months. As I mentioned earlier, we're all these leaders in this era, right? We all have to embrace that. So maybe I'm just leading for my team. I don't have to be at the top of the organizational chart for my company to show up as a leader and to drive a positive culture. We've enabled you all also with this Copilot scenario library. So I encourage you to go check out the library. There's been some great demos of it here at the show. But the idea is that it will go and give you inspiration and step-by-step guidance about the scenarios that you can very directly improve with Copilot, right? And what I love about this is you can interact with it and use it as a conversation tool with people in your organization, but you can also download the slide and use it as a training tool or customize it for your own organization. In the future, we'll be allowing people to go ahead and add additional scenarios to it. This is our first rev. This has been available since the end of February, I want to say. And so we'll continue to add more scenarios that our customers have shared with us. But even if you just took a few of the scenarios that are out there, one for IT and one for HR and one for marketing, you'll make tremendous progress and you'll gain experience. There isn't really any white paper or community call or training organization that can replace your own need for your own aha moment and your own journey with AI. You really do have to take that yourself, and so does your organization. But this will get you started with things that we've already seen through our research are meaningful change for an organization, right? And this is part of this overview of this implementation summary, right? We gave a session on this earlier this week, and my colleagues and I were talking about how many calls we had on the new phase names, the get ready, onboard and engage, deliver impact, extend, and optimize. And of course, there are industry standards for implementation guidance for any technology and ITSM and all those different fancy frameworks. But we wanted it to be simple. We wanted it to not to have to be explained, right? Everybody knows what get ready means, right? And it translates well into many, many languages. And so this idea that there is a Microsoft 365 implementation framework, this is the overview of it. This is the version of it that is for Copilot. But you'll start to see this across all of our other products as well, for Microsoft Teams and Viva and Planner and all the great work that we're doing, right? This 4-pillar phase, right? Built on top of a strategy and also the Microsoft tools and capabilities that are available. And in each area, there's another incredibly important piece about this, which is technical readiness and user enablement. They're equal, sister work streams in this process, right? User enablement is not a bolt-on that comes after the technology is ready to light up. There's so much work that needs to be done in the user community, getting ready to onboard people in a really positive way, because you're not going to get another chance at that first impression. First impressions absolutely matter, especially in technology, and especially with some of the trust issues that people have with technology today. And so you want to make sure that you have properly staffed the user enablement group, right? That there are clear and identified owners of that work, just like you would with the technical readiness. And these folks need to get along and work together, right? Oftentimes when I get called into a customer because a project has gone off track, it's because people aren't communicating. The user enablement team hasn't sat in a project review with the IT team in a quarter or a few months. Like that's not going to work, right? That's not going to work anymore. You really have to band together in one unified group to do this enablement and to do it well, and be led by an executive sponsor who's willing to be active and engaged and really land the message of why the company is doing this. As I've mentioned, of course, Fast Track and other folks are here to help you with that process. The Fast Track team has been amazing at taking all of this recommendation and taking it into the real world, right? So this isn't just academic theory about how to do this. This was, tested with actual customers in the early adoption program. The team gave us a tremendous amount of real-world feedback that we then put into the new kit, and we will continue to update it. Our next drop of the kit with more materials will be in June, but the core of it that is here right now is available today. And so we really want you to take advantage of that and get familiar with the terms and the way that we're framing things, because, this is supposed to be a little bit fun. Right? I'm not sure if I'm getting fun as a vibe in this audience right now. I don't know if I'm freaking you out or what. I was so nervous to do this. I'm just going to tell you, I was so nervous today to come up and do this. So maybe it's me. That's probably me. But you should be having a little bit of fun with this work. We are implementing AI in our environment. How many people thought you'd be talking about that a year ago? I did not. I have to tell you, I did not. And so it's actually realizing something that I thought was just going to be in the sci-fi books I read every weekend, right? But now it's actually real, and it's here, and we have a framework to help you do this in ways that will make meaningful change and will allow you to be a leader in the era of AI, because everyone is. We can lead from every level. When we think about leading in the era of AI, there's some things I'm going to ask all of you to do, and I'm going to ask you to share this slide with your executive sponsor or leaders in your organization, just like the page that I referenced earlier, because we have to change the narrative. It's really important that we think about our workforce and what is happening to us and to them, us as members of a workforce and them as people that we are trying to serve. Right? We have to talk about the business growth AI is going to bring. We have to make sure people are thinking about taking ownership of their career and building additional skills. Now, not everybody is going to lean in and want to take that time to learn, but the folks that will it's very important that they have the opportunity to do that, right? People can have this moment to identify these business growth opportunities, right, for your own organization. But it's essential that along with that, you're prioritizing transforming your workforce, right? What is happening to people along this journey? What skills are you building in the different roles in your organization, right? If you trained a service agent to work in ServiceNow or to work in any customer service tool and look things up and answer a particular call, now what you're actually asking them to do is, potentially put in a prompt that says, show me the list of open incidents for such and such a customer, right? What are their current status? And Copilot's going to come back and give them a list, right? You have to make sure that they understand the prompts that are relevant to their role. And this is where Copilot Labs and the work that we've done in product really comes to play. And of course, the Copilot Academy, the training component. But only you know this in your own organization, right? This is why you have to learn it first so that you can help people make sure that those roles are being transformed accordingly. The vision that you and your leaders discuss about AI will matter to your workforce. Right? Your AI project will actually live or die at the coffee pot and the water cooler and the 5 minutes at the beginning of that team's meeting before they turn on the recording, where the actual business happens, right? We all know this. We all have these meetings before we turn on the recording. Everybody does that, right? And so for those of you who do record or transcribe, either way, so it's important to realize that conversation that's happening in the shadows, frankly, in your organization is actually going to determine your success. People will even believe that they matter to you, or they won't. Right? And so defining and communicating a talent mobility plan is something that you can partner with your HR team on, right? In IT, we don't always think of talent mobility planning. Those aren't words we usually think of in IT, right? But it's words we need to think of as technologists and leaders now, so that we can communicate that, and we can also support that mobility plan with the tools that we have in the product, like Copilot Labs, the Copilot Academy, and Viva Learning, and more. And lastly, I will say, investing in those user enablement specialists. Adoption specialists, human change managers, user enablement folks, we are a little bit of a unique breed. We have to understand the technology deeply enough to help other people, but we're really motivated by helping other people, really. And so, sometimes you can feel a little bit alone in an IT department if you do user enablement, because other people don't necessarily understand you, right? I think people affectionately refer to me as a unicorn now. I think they had other words for it before. I think there were other words. but I've always felt seen and appreciated at Microsoft by at least someone, and I've really appreciated that, right? It's made a big difference to me in the way that I've leaned into this work. So even if you're the only person who does user enablement in your organization, we're here for you. That's what the M365 Champions program is for. It's full of people there's only one or two user enablement folks in an organization, and they come to that community so that they can be with other people who understand these issues and learn. We learn from each other there. But you and your organization will need people who do user enablement. And maybe it's a Microsoft partner, right? Fast Track does some of that work. Microsoft partners do a lot of that as well. You can learn, obviously, from our own materials, but that's a fundamental talent. It's a fundamental skill you'll need. And we saw very clearly in the early adoption program that the companies who already had user enablement muscle set up in their organization, they got to value more quickly because they already had people who were champions. They already had a community of practice that they could extend, right? They had on-demand learning tools that they were using, and they understood how to communicate, for instance, using something like Viva Amplify to communicate broadly and share the message. So, user enablement is not just training and comms. It's much more complicated than that, and it can also be very simple, depending on the size of your organization. But having a community, communicating well, and having someone to lead that charge who's really focused on the user experience, those are the fundamentals. So we come back to the fun of people, right? The fun of people who definitely have this opportunity. There is no one else who is going to democratize this opportunity for everyone but us. Right? I realize that there will be, regulation in the future, and there are already memos about this from the White House and other governments, and there are people who are going to lean in and shape this around the globe. But it's those of us with the hands on keyboard. It's those of us who actually talk to people. It's those of us who are understanding it today that are going to ensure that this opportunity is democratized for everyone to have access to. Right? We have to be sure that we're not increasing the digital divide, that we are bringing people together, right? If there is an opportunity to have AI on my phone, if there's an opportunity for us to contribute to building so that every child has a tutor on their phone, wouldn't you want to be a part of that? Yes? Wouldn't you want to be a part of helping to reduce how much it costs to design and discover effective medication? Wouldn't you want to be a part of that? Wouldn't you want to be a part of being able to participate in solving some of the most difficult and challenging problems that exist on the planet today? I believe that technology is a tool of the will of the people, and that there are more good people who want to solve problems than not. Right? And so that is why I'm so positive about what's going to happen next. But we need to embrace reinvention of ourselves, of our businesses, right? Of the way that we approach work. We do have to lead at every level. All of us have an opportunity to lead here, but you really need to invest in yourself. Right? None of this happens if you don't have the information that you need to be able to participate in this conversation. And that is why we're launching today the Community Skills Challenge. Okay? Yay! Many of you are probably familiar at Ignite and at other of our large flagship shows, the Cloud Skills Challenge. Well, this is our answer to that, and it's also designed. How many of you, I heard some of you say that this was your first conference. How many of you are pretty new to the Microsoft ecosystem? Less than a year. Less than a year in the Microsoft ecosystem, right? Okay, I see hands. Thank you so much. There are fundamentals that people never learn about Microsoft 365, right? How to talk about it, what is the privacy, how do you think about licensing, all of these things that are actually very important to having conversations with your leaders about how you're going to use Microsoft 365. The Community Skills Challenge not only helps you build that foundational, fundamental knowledge, but power skills, about tech agility, about being resilient, about communication. These power skills will make the difference in your career in the next 24 months, I will tell you right now, and certainly in the next 5 to 10 years, right? So we really believe that it is important for you to take the time, but also we recognize that not everybody has a lot of time. So we have carefully curated this set of courses to really benefit you in the moment that we're in right now. Right? It became available on May 1st. The Community Skills Challenge will go until August 1st. You will get special badges and all sorts of fun stuff from Microsoft Learn, and you'll be able to put those on your LinkedIn profile, right? And so you can differentiate yourself. This is a moment to invest in your career, right, like no other. And so we want to support you in that. As I mentioned before, the Microsoft skilling experiences extend directly into product. The Microsoft Copilot Academy that comes with your Copilot license is available there, and the content is also available on LinkedIn Learning and other places. And so you can make sure that you're having your own aha moment with Copilot and understanding this so that then you can explain it to other people. But Copilot Academy is one, and there are other academies, and you can actually build your own academies in your own organization on key topics, right? So this is a capability that's built into Viva Learning that works so well for this type of learning. And of course, then there's Microsoft Learn, right? Microsoft Learn is a huge ecosystem of free training. And Copilot Lab, which also comes with the Copilot license, is really right there helping people build that skill and being able to prompt well so that they have a great experience with these tools. I'm really proud of Microsoft building in this learning experience in with the new products, and it represents a real investment on Microsoft in the way that we do this work now, right? Making sure people understand the features that we're spending so much time building. I will show this slide until everybody has it. These are the top 10 things that everybody needs to understand how to do in Microsoft Copilot. I very rarely meet people who can do all 10 or have done all 10 because this is new, right? This is new. This was like the slides we used to have on, how to set up a team in Microsoft Teams, right? And so make sure that you have had this experience. For those of you who have Copilot in your organization, or maybe you're going to be a champion leader or train the trainers, make sure you can do all 10 of these. Even if there's some that you won't do every day, the experience that you have in working with the tool will make you more confident when you're talking to other people about it, for sure. And then lastly, of course, I'm going to call out the Copilot resources on Microsoft adoption. And I'm also incredibly happy to announce our MS 4007 course that is specifically for user enablement. It is the course that you can take and the badge that you will earn that shows that you understand these user enablement best practices. It will accrue to a broader set of courseware as well. It is part of the Community Skills Challenge also. And so these core capabilities will apply to many other technologies as well. Copilot is the first place that we've landed this course, and it's brand new, and it now replaces the one that my team and I wrote several years ago that was the prior adoption course. So now we've updated all that, and we have a new number in the area of applied skills. So go there, download the content, take a look at it. Make sure that you understand also Microsoft Viva and how you can use it to accelerate that path to user satisfaction and business results, right? There are components of Microsoft Viva that work for each of the pillars of the overall implementation framework. right? And so even if you're not using Viva today, I realize it sounds like one more thing to learn, but it will help you so much, especially like Viva Amplify and Engage and the work you can do in Glint. I mean, all of these capabilities are worth the time it will take for you to understand how to implement them for your organization, for sure. And the other thing that I want to announce today is we want you to earn your wings. And so we are happy to announce today the Copilot Flight Crew. The Copilot Flight Crew is a community learning program where you can earn badges and build your reputation and grow your skills. It is going to start on June 1st. This is the preview announcement, and there will be cool stickers and there will be cool swag, right? You definitely want that. People love swag. We know you love swag. And especially you're going to get the digital version as well. So you can put these things on your LinkedIn profile, right? Reputation management at this point is really important, but it doesn't mean we can't have some fun, right? We can have some fun along with the work that we are doing. And so really want to thank my friends in the marketing department who were like, yes, Copilot Flight Crew, that's a good idea. Let's do it, right? That's fantastic. So this is a joint effort from engineering and marketing together because it's all about you, right? And it continues to be about all of you and the work that you're doing. So you can join that ak.ms Copilot community. The blog post on June 1st with the activities that you need to do to be a part of the flight crew and how to earn those badges will post there then. But we wanted to take this opportunity to make this preview announcement for all of you right here at this show. Yes, flight crew. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So this moment here is about what we can do. It's about who we can be, and it's about who we're going to be. Each of us in this moment can absolutely lead from where we are. Understand the narrative of what AI is about, democratizing opportunity, driving creativity, driving business growth, of course, productivity and efficiency. But these other areas are so important, right? We have to teach our leaders sometimes how to talk about this. Right? How many of you have to do a trip report from this show, right? A bunch of people have to do a trip report. We'll give you some pictures and some slides to help you make that easier. But one of the things that you should be putting in your trip report is that we should what is our AI strategy? Like you can ask the question, right? You can definitely ask the question, what's your strategy about improving the meeting experience in Microsoft Teams? Has everybody moved to the new Teams? Are you really thinking about community and user enablement? It's not just about AI. So if your organization isn't ready for that conversation yet and you don't want to start it, start with the fundamentals, right, of user enablement, right, of understanding how we're skilling people in scenarios and roles, right, and what is happening next. With that kind of groundswell, we can succeed together, right? We have to succeed together. It's kind of not optional, right? At this point, we have to take this moment in our careers. I remember the birth of the internet and the birth of the cloud and of Office 365 and all of those things. None of them were as big as this moment is right now for what it is going to do to our careers in the future. And we're in charge. Right? We're in charge. If you aren't having fun right now, I encourage you, take the Community Skills Challenge. Think about the other areas you might want to invest in. Take the time to invest in yourself at this moment and think about what work do you want to be doing 2 years from now? What work do you want to do 5 years from now? Right? Are you in the right organization? Are you working with the right people? Are you able to have a little fun? Right? We all work too much for it to not have some meaning for all of us, right? So we can individually and in our organizations succeed together because this isn't about just implementing something. We have to thrive. We have to thrive together, right? There are too many challenges in the world that need our attention, that need our empathy, that need us to lead in. There's too much trust that you have put in us as Microsoft and your organizations have put in you to not really lean into this opportunity, right? So don't let anybody tell you that this is a passing moment or it's not that important yet, right? they're not really paying attention. We may not know everything that AI is going to do for us, but I guarantee you that we'll still be talking about it in Las Vegas next May. Right? We're going to be talking about it then, right? And I want all of you to come back with a story about how you left this conference and thought about it and decided to invest in your career, decided to have conversations in your organization, decided to commit to yourself about how you're going to thrive in this era, right? I just love the opportunities that we have. But part of that is because Microsoft has changed my life, right? I don't come from a lot of money. I don't have a degree in computer science, but I get to stand here and talk to all of you about this stuff today, right? And it's because of all the thousands of dedicated people inside and outside of Microsoft that have given me this opportunity, right? And this opportunity is now shared with all of you. Right? So do it for yourself, do it for your family, focus on thriving, because at the end of the day, we are 100% in this together, right? Microsoft isn't successful without all of you, right? We need your insight, we need your feedback, right? We need your partnership. And that's really what this is about. This is about collaborative leadership together. Right, that's how we're going to come up with innovations and change and make sure to solve some of these pressing problems that we see around the world. Right? If you can imagine it, we can make it happen, but only if we work together. It is such a pleasure to get to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming to our Microsoft 365 conference. Thank you to everyone. Thank you so much. Let's go out there and thrive.